today from Brian and Bankrate is How to Flip a House, a Beginner's Guide. So essentially here, the article is covering like what is house flipping, how can you do house flipping, some pros and cons. So we'll talk about a couple of things, and then I want some like kind of on the ground experience on the lending side, the real estate side, and being able to sit at the table with an investor who's done some stuff like that. We want to get some experience from Memo here. So clearly, in case it's not abundantly obvious, the evolution of house flipping through HGTV and social media has just been like this wildfire, pun superintended.
The whole DIY
It's been gone wildfire these last couple of years. You can rest this at the feet of all these different shows that have been like House Repair and the Joanna and Chip Gaines stuff and, Extreme House Makeover and all that. Like,
I mean, everywhere you look, not only there, but if you go on social media, there's a lot of these platforms out there, the whole Burr method, of how to just flip, fix and flip. I mean, there's a little bit of everything, and it's just gotten so popular. As a matter of fact, you're seeing that, year to date, it's about 35% of homes being sold are from investors.
Yeah. So, and that's a little bit more than normal, like the normal average. I think in the article here it said, first quarter of 2024 alone, 68,000 of the homes that were sold were flips.
That's 1 out of 12.
1 out of every 12.
That's crazy.
That's a lot. That's like 8% just in the first quarter.
One of the things that I do notice that HGTV over glorifies is like when they put two regular people on there and they're like, hey, I'm a teacher and I'm a stay-at-home mom. Our budget is $3 million.
But I understand
why
those memes are funny.
But I understand, why they do that, because it also tries to invite regular people to let them know that, hey, you guys can also do this. But in the pros and cons, there's something that is very, very important that I don't think people really understand and really get into it once they like, I'm a fix and flip, I'm gonna get into investing. You really have to have everything dialed in.
No, exactly. And you need to have some deep pockets.
Yep.
The article is really good. Actually, it was very well written. It talks about the pros and cons. It talks about the general profits that they're making. So it gives you a good description. I mean, obviously, we're going to add our take based on the experience and knowledge that we have while we work on our own project and work with several investors. As a matter of fact, the last year, we've been doing more fix and flip loans, which has been incredible. And it's actually been what a way to go and leverage your money, So it really all depends on the experience. The more experience you have, the less money it's gonna require you, to put down. But Andy, what is house flipping?
So the house flipping is essentially buying a property and holding on to it for a shorter period of time than a normal person would. That's going to occupy it, and then you buy it and flip it, or you buy it and update it intentionally to flip it, like car flipping or anything like that. Anything else that you'd be like hobby flipping.
Oh wow, great! On to the next episode.
On to the next one. But
I
obviously there's a lot more that goes into it, but essentially it's short-term acquisition for trying to turn a profit.
Yeah. I mean, some of the things I like about house flipping, is when you're buying them in certain areas, it does help fix that area. You're seeing a lot of like Barrio Logan here in downtown San Diego. You saw a lot of house flippers out there. In some areas with San Diego, they allow you to kind of do a little more stuff. They're a little more flexible with you.
You know what I have seen around those areas is more of like houses with businesses combined and stuff like that you're able to basically mix use exactly a lot. And what you see is that these areas are really torn down, but once one investor gets in there, then a lot of people start seeing like, hey, this is going to be the next place. So everybody starts merging there before they start finding other little pockets in their own space.
It's like before when I was growing up, it felt kind of like you don't want to go over there.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like, bro, I might get jumped. Now it's like,
it
feels a lot better.
Yeah. So I think part of that is the attitude of the person coming in to flip. Like, hey, maybe I'm from that neighborhood, and I want to have that neighborhood's got to come up and on its way. The other part is like gentrification is really the word we're kind of dancing around here, but. Like I'll speak specifically to the west side of Chula Vista right now. There's the Bayfront project going on. Well, there's also a lot of surrounding neighborhood that hasn't been touched in 30, 40, 50 years. And going into that area, knowing that this other new development is about to pop off and be done in the next year and a half or so, that's going to increase real estate values, and it's drawing people with money to the areas to buy them and upgrade them, add to them, create more square footage, put duplex, triplex, whatever, and it's bringing a lot of fresh money to areas like that for that purpose of flipping.
No, definitely because of that. Actually changed when my mother-in-law was trying to sell her home, which is maybe about 2.5 miles from there. I'm like, I'll keep that. I'll buy it. What do you want? That's the market value. I bought it at market value, and I want to make sure that I build ADUs and the junior ADU on there. So I'm building 2 ADUs on it, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, you know, with an existing 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I really think that that's going to be in our favor, especially having, that convention center there and just that build, which is one of the most expensive projects there is.
I do believe it's still the largest hotel project currently underway in the United States.
That's
right here in our backyard.
Yeah, right here.
Which is pretty awesome.
Just to put it into perspective, the price point appreciation, the house next to Mary's house is going to be it's up in the market for $1 million.
That's crazy. That's unheard of.
And it doesn't have the build outs that you're going to be adding to the property or anything like that. So just for that to be already the baseline of what the houses there is at, I'm like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But if you do go down the street a little bit further, there's houses that are literally tanked. They're literally like nobody's touched them before, and they're literally like still within the vicinity of like everything could be nicer around
Exactly. That's where this whole house flipping. I see a lot of the homes in that area actually kind of going. But I do like in this article where it says the house flippers need a lot of money on hand for upfront cost of purchasing. Here it is in the beginning. It really is, Andy. You do need that you need to have a lot of skin in the game because you kind of have to prove yourself, right? That you did your due diligence, etc. But for people who've already been doing 2, 3, 4 flips in the last 20, 24 months, like we offer products with just 10% down. So you put 10% down on the property and then we give you the rehabilitation costs. So if the rehab is $100,000, we provide that financing to you as well, but it's got to meet a certain loan to value for that. So as long as the investor is doing their due diligence, a lot of times they don't have to have such deep pockets,
Well, this brings up the budgeting part of the commentary here, which is like one of the main things that they're telling people who are reading this that are interested in like the step-by-step part. They're mentioning budget like right out the top. And I put a close second, like your contractor. I know in the article, like, contractor's like number 5 or something like that. And I was like, no. Like that has to go with budget because the contractor partially sets the budget with you. I mean, exactly. You're going to pick the kind of treatments you give the house, whether it's going to get carpet or hardwood floor or tile, and then what kind of stone and whatever. But you have to have a contractor that can come in at budget and stay within the budget too. So like to me, those go hand in hand. And to your point, like, it's great if you can finance that, but you have some upfront stuff like permits, architectural drawings, renderings, things like that you have to go just pay because they're part of the deal.
Well, we, permits aren't required, in San Diego, depending on the project, unless you're going to add something else, but if there's already a bathroom there, you're just going to fix it. There's no permits required.
Right.
The only difference is, and I'm glad that you brought that. I mean, we kind of went a little really fast on that, but the pros and cons, I like the article, the way it breaks it down. I also like, some of the housing steps, and contractor was one of those. Here in San Diego before, you can do everything without a contractor.
Yeah.
But with the new rule that came in effect on July 1st of 2024, they put a new bill, which is the AB 968. So now you have to show all the receipts and all the work. And so now doing it yourself is kind of like, I don't know, depending on the work you've done.
Yeah.
So, if you're doing big work and you're putting anywhere from 80 to 100,000, in this case, that rule doesn't apply to like paint, exterior paint, interior paint.
And I don't mean to jump around. I don't mean to take us out of like a linear conversation of
good.
pros and cons. But the reason I brought it up is because when you're talking about bringing up the neighborhood and some of their pros, as far as like, making profit, whatever, like that ties in with the budget and your contractor greatly.
Absolutely.
Because those things are going to affect the top line and the bottom line along the way. And so part of it is having someone who's experienced and has a good track record. If you want to bring the neighborhood up, well, someone's got to show up who can actually do that, right? So I know it's out of linear time in this discussion, but
it isn't.
But they're connected still.
Yeah.
So there is the potential for big profit, and you can improve the neighborhood. And part of what we also know for people that are doing this now is they're looking to diversify themselves financially.
Correct.
That, okay, well, real estate is a smaller part of my portfolio, if you will, or not a part at all, and I want it to be. I have a house that I can convert or add to or whatever. Yeah. And so this is the way people are doing it to increase cash flow and offset monthly costs and that are pressing on their budget financially.
Exactly.
So there's risks in having the wrong contractor or having the wrong budget or trying to do it in the wrong area or for the wrong reason. I'm even going to say the wrong reasons. Like the wrong reasons isn't listed as one of the cons, but you could totally go into this with the wrong reason and that can bite you in the butt too. I don't want to pretend like that can't happen because that can happen if you have the wrong intention here.
One of the pros that I feel wasn't mentioned is that, compared to buying a regular house, and if you want to go the regular route to buy an investment property, is you right off the bat need to put 20% down if you don't have the experience, or even if you do have the experience going through a regular residential bank loan. With a specialized product that is just for fix and flipping, hard money loans, they actually don't go based off your personal income. And that's what I feel a lot of the public doesn't know, that, hey, how am I going to have the income to be able to afford that property, to be able to fix and flip it and still have, no. It doesn't go based off your personal income, but rather, your experience, the deal, and then your exit strategy and what you're going to be profiting. if those numbers align and you have everything dialed in, then you have a high chance of getting your project funded and approved. And that's something that I feel a lot of people think that, hey, I have to have the income. No. As long as you have the funds, or you're able to come up with the funds through, other investors, or you're able to pull money together. All these things change when you're in a new investment world compared to the residential game. So that's something that I feel a lot of people don't know. And if you do know, you're out there playing with the people.
That's a great point. I'm glad that you bring that up, because that's actually a really good point. I mean, you can borrow money from whoever you want.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, like your tia, the tío, they could all come in there
and it's easier.
I broke my piggy bank. There's 5,000. You don't have to source those funds. It's very, very different when it comes to that world.
They're just there. You're like, hey,
the real thing only is credit. You do have to have credit.
Yeah.
Obviously, the higher the credit, the better is always going to be. Credit's everything here.
Yeah.
Right. And then the other thing is experience. But if you don't have experience, it's okay. You can still do it with 20% down. And the cool thing is, you get to kind of get into the game, right?
One of the things that I also feel that I'd encourage a lot of people to do is that if it's your first couple of projects, I would align myself with someone that has the experience or has already done it before. Do a JV venture where you're able to, still be part of that deal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're able to gain that experience. And maybe if that person does have prior experience, then those terms will be a little bit easier on you as well. So that's also something to, think about when you're going into. Yeah, exactly.
So awesome point. I'm glad you laid the foundation for that, because, hey, you've laid the foundation. Because I was just writing here, I'm listening to you guys, and I was like, how can I consolidate this thought? For me, it's like you got to have the credit part, there's the cash part, and then plan for contingencies. Yeah. So 3 C's from Uncle Andy. It's going to be credit, cash, and contingencies, because part of this too is like there may be unexpected things that come up. Like what happens if you find this when you uncover the backyard and you're doing piping or whatever? Well, what if you find something like there's just things that come up. What if you have damage in your roof that you can't see because until you remove the roof to replace it, you don't know that there's like termite damage or something on the eaves. Like there's other problems, and I just want to make sure that we're telling people it can be all pie in the sky and great and wonderful, but you leave some room for contingencies because unexpected things happen, and you don't want to be caught off guard.
And that's one of the cons.
Threatening. That's why.
That's part of it, right?
And it's listed for that reason, is because there can be things that surprise you that end up costing you money, and if you don't have the money to cover it, guess what? Now your deal's completely threatened.
No, totally. I like the way they put the pros. Potential big profits. There is a potential for that. They were saying in the article it's about 30%. That's a lot. I think that's
a lot.
Here in San Diego, some investors are like 50 is a minimum. They're trying to make 50, 100,000 at times. Obviously, sometimes they hit home runs. And they're much higher than that. But I think 30% is too high. But those are the averages.
It could be, and I mean, and even listed in one of the mistakes here is like not having enough money.
Yeah,
and thinking it's easy. Like, okay, well, not having enough money and thinking it's easy are like two really big threats.
The biggest issue for an investor, believe it or not, the biggest thing is when they enter escrow, the biggest flaw in an investor is, guess what it is?
The EMD?
That's it. Yep. They don't have enough money for an EMD. You're like, how?
Right.
So they're just trying to pull from everybody. Just get the deal, and then we'll figure out how to get the money. Which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then the other pro was improving neighborhoods, which we talked about, which I think is great. I love that. Always improving the area, and then the diversity of your investments. Always good that if you look at flipping, you kind of just don't put those blinders on. Try to expand your horizon by paying attention to other opportunities, and there's other ways you can utilize the investments like short-term rentals, long-term rentals. It could be caregiver where you bring people where you're going to help them out. And then there's daycare. Some people just utilize their home as a business.
Yeah.
So there's different exit strategies for these different type of loans.
And I think part of that too is that proves the point, or I think makes the point that, having the right team together and having the right contractor who knows what they're doing is part of it, because it's easy, or maybe it's easy to just to put your brain on the shelf, oh, I'm doing a flip, and not have to think about it, and just completely entrust and not saying you shouldn't just trust the person, but meaning be hands off. And that doesn't seem to be the way it works among our friends off camera that are here that have done couple hundred flips.
Oh, yeah.
Our friends who have come to Friends of Mortgage Heroes who are currently doing flips, and they're contractors, they're putting full attention on this. It's not like you're going to get a full result with half effort or half attention span. You have to keep your eye on the prize and on what's going on. Someone has to supervise this thing and make sure things are being done in a quality workman-like fashion and at the standard that the market's going to tolerate.
Yeah.
Don't sell me a crap place for 100% of the price. If it's crap, it's crap, and people are gonna let you know.
Exactly. Well, there goes the cons, right, Brian?
Yeah.
What are the cons, Brian?
Oh, did I blow through them?
No, you did not. But but those are it, right?
Don't flip crap.
All that's part of that, right? There's also a potential for big losses, right? Is what they have. Likelihood of significant problems, which you brought up. You're going into, you start opening walls, and next thing you know, you're having plumbing issues. You take the carpet out of the flooring, next thing you know, you have foundation issues.
Right.
There was just a property that we went and purchased in Texas, and that was one of the issues. Yeah. And then just that issue alone was $12,000 repair.
Right.
So it goes digging into your budget.
Yeah.
Totally chip into that. Well, so I think there's a lot of positivity around house flipping if you have the right place, the right market, and it really comes down to the right price. I mean, can you acquire the place at the right price? If you're paying 90 cents on the dollar, that might not be enough to pull the deal unless that house is going to future value be worth way more.
Exactly.
That might be warrantable. But if you're over 70 cents on the dollar, that's kind of the ratio I hear. If you're going to just flip that
75 because
without adding stuff to it.
Yeah, 775 after you added everything into it is what you want as a ARV margin, after repair value. Mm-hmm. And then that 25% difference, it's based on your hiring on a real estate appraiser. I'm a real estate appraiser. I'm sorry. Real estate agent.
An agent, yeah.
Hiring an agent. There's commissions that are paid.
And I'm glad you brought that up because you also have the holding costs. You also have, your monthly expenses as well. And that's another thing that people don't look at it. All they see is like ARV plus this. Oh, I'm making all this. No. You got your holding costs. You're going to be in there for 4 to 6 months. Yeah. And sometimes it could be a little bit longer. So you're paying every month. The 12-month term is
you're making those monthly payments.
When you said that, it reminded me of the kindergarten when we went to the graduation. The kid is like, I'm glad to pronounce the 2024 kindergarten class, and the kid in the back was like, like it's all over, right? Like I got my investor gets their offer approved. It's like, like no, there's more to it.
No, that's where it all starts. Like, wait,
got a whole lot of work left.
What do you mean? Like, we just got the offer accepted. So that's also something you got to budget for and make sure that it's not digging into your profit, your budget, and then you end up actually not making money. You go under, but at the same time, that's why it's so important that you dial in all your numbers. Your contractor needs to give you a clear idea of what it is that they're going to be doing for the budget, and if you need to add more, add it in the beginning because once it's closed, you can't go back and ask for more money.
Yep.
I know you guys probably want to go into the next subject. I just love this because I think a lot of people want to probably hear this, but I do like the outlay about how they're putting the step by step, right, Brian? Set a budget, find a property, make an offer, set a timeline, hire a contractor, sell your property. I mean, those are great.
Yeah, those are good pit stops. I was going to ask you specifically because I put contractor like number 1A. Like there's number 1, set your budget, number 1A, like with your contractor.
Absolutely.
So that's what I would do from the outside looking in. Like,
that's honestly.
It's listed as number 5 because it just has to go in some sort of order, but it's right there at the top, dude.
Yeah. Oh, no, Andy, the contractor, Brian, you can
your contractor is everything. You go, you're going to get a wide range variety of different, different prices, So you really have to vet out who's going to be the right one, who's actually going to do the work, or who's just honestly fluffing and talking and telling you that they can perform, and down the line, like, hey, we're not going to be able to get done. Yeah. That's the most crucial thing. And then I follow what you say, Andy. It needs to be up in the beginning because even when you're going out and seeing properties, if you're not a contractor and you don't know what costs are and you don't know exactly what it's going to cost for you to build that, labor, materials, and all that good stuff, you want to take your contractor to go see the houses with you right off the bat, because then right off the bat, when you're walking the properties, he's going to be like, hey, that's going to cost you around this much. I could maybe get this for that much, and you're already foreshadowing what it is that you're going to be putting towards your budget. So then you don't have to do it backwards where you, hey, I found the property, now I have to go do my budget. You already know the price point you're looking at, more or less what it is that you're going to put in repairs, so you can do your budgeting, as accurate as possible before,
I mean, hey, I'll share this. If you guys DM us, I'll be more than happy to share our calculator, our worksheet where you guys can plug all these things in. That way you can print it out, have your little clipboard or what have you, and you can write these things down. So we'd be more than happy to pass these on to you
And it works
guys.
magical because you literally just type in the numbers, it gives you your breakdown, and you could really just underwrite a file in less than 5 minutes.
And it has a simple video that how to use.
Easy day.
Our goal is always to educate our investors, our newcomers. We get a lot of those. Again, because social media, DIY, TV shows, etc. We want to help them.
If you guys do want the calculator, if you guys are seeing this right now, just put calculator down in the comments, and we'll make sure we reach out to you and send it over.
Yeah, we went to preschool. We know how to share.
Yeah, sharing. Hey, going back to kindergarten.
Yeah, exactly.
You've graduated sharing.